Chapter 22. I dove into the pool, swimming down toward the middle. As I swam closer, I could see the design was made to look like a sun with sunbeams flaring in every direction. It was the necklace. It had to be. I reached for it, but it was set in a homemade tile, recently added by the looks of it. I swam to the surface. It's the necklace. I need something to pry the tile. Mrs. Miller's eyes widened as she dashed into the house. "Maya!" I shouted from the pool. "Call Remy! Tell him to come immediately! We found it!" Before long, Mrs. Miller returned with a very large butcher knife. "I'm supposed to swim with this?" Frankie, Maya, and Gwen gathered to watch as I dove back under. Using the knife to pry the tile loose, it popped out quickly. I swam to the side of the pool with the tile and knife in hand. "Here," I said, handing the tile to Mrs. Miller. I tossed the knife off to the side so I could climb out.
"This is it?"
Maya asked, peeking around Mrs. Miller to get a better look.
It's gorgeous. Look at the size of those stones. How do we get it out?
Frankie asked. "I think the tile is made with cheap stepping stone mix. I'm sure it can break apart. But I'd hate to accidentally ruin the necklace," I said, water streaming from my drenched clothes.
"I'll get a towel."
Maya said, heading inside.
"I have an outfit you can wear too."
"I'm sure my other clothes are dry," I called, but it was too late. She was already on her way.
"What should I do?"
Mrs. Miller asked.
Should I call and tell them I have the necklace?
"Do you know the number?" Her face fell.
No, the call comes in as an unknown number.
"Did Maya call Remy?" Frankie nodded.
He's on his way.
"Let's sit tight and wait for Remy. We still have until morning to hand over the necklace. I'm sure they'll call again."
I'm so relieved,
she said, shaking from head to toe.
but I can't get too excited until my boys are home.
"I can clean the necklace."
Gwen offered, holding out her hand for the tile. Mrs. Miller shook her head.
Let's leave it in the tile. I can't take the chance of ruining it.
Since Ian never told you about me, I'm sure he also never mentioned that I'm a jeweler. I keep a kit in the car.
She headed toward the door.
I'll go get it.
She's a jeweler?
Frankie asked when she was out of earshot.
She looks more like a professional trophy wife. I have a hunch Ian might not be Gwen's first husband, and I doubt he'll be her last.
That might explain why she wasn't too upset that he married me.
And here I try to avoid dramatized soaps.
Mrs. Miller stated offhandedly. "Since I met Frankie and the Miller brothers, my life has been nothing but one long soap," I said.
Ain't that the truth? They've been running her ragged. She's even sprouted a gray hair.
He said, pointing at a spot on my head. "I don't have gray hair."
You do now.
Maya handed me a towel and then leaned over to inspect.
"Oh, you have one. Or two. Don't worry. If you go blonde, it's less noticeable."
The Jaws theme music filled the air. We froze, listening to the sound. "Where's it coming from?" I stepped back from the water. Frankie plucked his phone from his pocket.
I forgot I assigned that ringtone to Muffin.
He pressed the answer button.
Got your land legs back?
"I think I'll head inside and change into dry clothes," I said. "The pizza should be here any minute."
No, she didn't say pizza.
Frankie said with a slightly higher than normal pitch. His eyes cut over to me with an accusatory glare.
She said Lisa should be here any minute.
Who's Muffin?
Mrs. Miller asked. I opened my mouth to explain. I closed it again. How could I explain Muffin to Mrs. Miller?
No, that's not what you heard.
Frankie argued.
I'm not going to give you the address. What do you mean you have it? Did you just GPS my phone, woman? Hello?
Frankie ended the call and glared pointedly at me.
Do you know how hard it is to find a word that rhymes with pizza?
I didn't know she was going to hear me.
You said pizza. That's like her supervillain call signal.
"I thought it'd be donuts."
Maya said thoughtfully.
"Maybe chicken. She does love chicken. Remember when you dressed up as a chicken and she called you her tasty chicken?
she asked Frankie.
I really thought she might take a chomp. You were her husband, after all.
Mrs. Miller's brow cocked as she glanced from Maya to Frankie. She leaned over to whisper,
I thought Frankie preferred, you know.
He married her to buy a yacht and found out she's a con artist. It looks like you'll get to meet her, I said, hiding a grin. Maya, you might want to order more pizzas. I'm heading upstairs. I was stopped by a phone ringing. We all turned in the direction of the sound. Mrs. Miller held her phone with shaking hands.
It's him.
Go ahead.
Maya urged softly.
We're all here and we have the necklace.
Mrs. Miller swallowed hard and steadied her hand long enough to press answer and bring the phone to her ear.
Hello?
We stood, watching Mrs. Miller with shallow breath.
I know it's 12 hours until the deadline. I have the necklace. What should I do?
She swallowed again.
I understand. I'll be there.
She waited for a moment before ending the call.
Well?
Maya was the first to ask, but we all stared at her with the same quizzical expression.
I have to board a plane. It leaves in 3 hours.
To where?
Freetown, in Sierra Leone.
Is that in Spain or something?
Frankie asked.
It's in Africa. Oh my God.
Her face paled.
I didn't think to bring my passport.
Glances darted back and forth as we realized none of us had passports.
I have my passport,
Gwen said from the patio door.
and I know my way around the city. I'll go.
I can't allow that.
Mrs. Miller said.
I'll find a way.
I can't see how you'll get around security without a passport, I said. Maybe Remy has a passport with him. Gwen didn't press the issue.
I'm here if you need me. I have my kit. Shall I clean the necklace?
Mrs. Miller was reluctant to hand over the precious item. It wasn't until Maya touched her sleeve and gave her a small nod that she hesitantly handed over the tile.
I'll be in the kitchen.
Gwen turned, nearly bumping into Remy.
Remy? Oh, thank goodness you're here. Do you have your passport with you?
Mrs. Miller asked.
No,
He said as a scowl formed.
I take it they called.
Just a moment ago. I have to board a plane to Freetown in 3 hours.
I hate to ask, but what about a visa to enter the country?
The sound of metal smashing into metal blasted through the house. We froze, listening to the twisting metal screech.
Was that a car accident?
Mrs. Miller asked. The front door crashed open. Remy pulled out his gun, but it was useless. Within seconds, we were surrounded by 6 men dressed in SWAT gear, wielding guns that could Swiss cheese us in a blink of an eye.
Put the gun down.
A man barked at Remy. I recognized him. It was the man from the Sierra Leone government, along with 5 of his men. Was his name Tete Camara? I tried to recall, but I was frozen from brain to toes. Remy reluctantly placed the gun on the ground, keeping eye contact with the man the entire time.
Kick it over.
The man ordered. Remy kicked the gun, sending it skidding to the man's feet. The man kicked it behind him to his men.
Hands over your head. Walk slowly. If you make any sudden moves, I won't hesitate to toss you over the cliff. Suicide rates are high this time of year.
He threatened as I followed the others inside the house. They led us to the dining room and tied our arms and legs to the chairs.
Please,
Mrs. Miller cried.
I have to board a plane. My sons.
I know all about your sons. You won't be making the flight.
Mrs. Miller and Maya disintegrated into tears.
How are you involved with the ransom?
Remy asked, trailing each man with assessing eyes.
We aren't.
Tata said, inspecting the ties. He's with the Sierra Leone government, or at least that's the lie he told me, I said, glaring at the man.
I am with the Sierra Leone government.
In what capacity?
Remy gritted.
In any capacity deemed necessary. Where's the necklace?
Quizzical glances flashed back and forth from our prison chairs. They didn't have Gwen. Did she escape? Did she steal the necklace as soon as Mrs. Miller handed it to her? This seems like an extreme way to find an engagement necklace, doesn't it? I asked, stalling.
It's become political. Where is it?
Just because the woman is engaged to the president doesn't mean it's political. The scraping sound of metal springing open and a cold blade on my throat had my attention. I froze as the blade bit into my skin. Maya squeaked and sobbed as the metallic scent of blood swirled my senses.
Have you ever heard of blood diamonds?
He growled low into my ear.
Don't you understand? The Millers are being held hostage to fund a movement. The funds will be used to overthrow the government. The rebels are bloodthirsty and will slaughter everyone, innocent women and children. It doesn't matter to them. 2 American men are not worth that price. They will not get the diamonds or the money.
And what happens to the necklace when you have it?
It will fund our army to hunt down the rebel group.
So no engagement present?
Frankie asked, completely off topic and thankfully so.
That's not right.
Kamara pulled the knife away and stared at Frankie as if he was an oddity. Of course, I thought. It was never an engagement present. I bet it wasn't stolen either. They wanted those funds just as much as the rebels.
War costs money,
He stated.
Where's the necklace? I won't ask again.
The words were gritty and threatening. It's being cleaned, I said.
Who has it?
Gwen, I don't know where she is,
Search the house.
he ordered. 4 men hurried out, leaving only Kamara and 1 armed man. The men in SWAT gear didn't talk, they didn't blink, they didn't move unless ordered. They were military drones, and scary as hell. It was only a matter of minutes when a scream pierced the silence. Gwen,
I think we found the necklace.
Kamara said smugly. Moments later, the 4 men returned with Gwen in their custody. They dragged her to a chair and tied her to it. 1 man held the necklace in his hand. It sparkled and twinkled like a beautiful ray of sunshine, not a weapon of war.
Hello?
A man said from the front door.
I have your pizza. Do you know your door is broken?
The delivery man stepped into the dining room and froze. One of Kamara's men moved toward him. The delivery man dropped the pizzas and screamed. He bolted for the door, screaming as he fled.
Let him go.
Kamara ordered.
We'll be gone before he can find help. Give me the necklace.
Kamara's face twisted into a dark sneer as he inspected the necklace.
It looks like we won the war,
He said, slipping it into his pocket and then giving a hand signal to the men. They headed out the door, not giving us a second glance. Kamara paused on his way out.
We only came for the necklace and to stop the ransom payment. My men are trained assassins. We will not stop until our mission is complete. I will leave you in peace, but it is in your best interest not to give me a reason to order your termination.
With those final words, he walked out. We were quiet, listening for sounds. Any sounds. Finally, an engine started and the vehicle sped down the road. Mrs. Miller and Maya slumped over in full-body sobs. I wilted at the thought of David and Ian never coming home. I didn't care what Kamara said. This wasn't over. If we could pay the ransom, then that's what we would do. I'd hate to fund rebels, but there must be a way. Oh my God, it's perfect,
Everyone scoot your chair to the person next to you, back to back.
Remy said.
We can untie each other.
Remy was the one closest to me. We scooted toward each other. As we fumbled with each other's knots, Remy said in a hushed voice,
As soon as we get out, I need you to come with me.
Where?
If we can't get to Grayson, we're taking his hotel down. This isn't over, Jet. Not by a mile.
I thought I was going to have to argue with you. I have a plan.
Tell me on the way. I don't want Maya or Mrs. Miller to overhear.
Why not?
Look at them. They're crying so hard they can't see to walk straight.
It will give them hope. Right now, they don't have any. The more hands on deck, the better.
Is that pizza I smell?
Muffin asked from the front.
Muffin, we're in the dining room.
Frankie called.
Help.
Muffin stepped next to the fallen pizza and glanced around quizzically.
Is this some kind of party game?